Hello friends, and welcome to Hogwarts Legacy. Today we're going to be doing a first impressions video of the game, kind of going over as we did get early access through the pre-order, so we got it about 3 days early. So I'm going to be going over what my impressions of the game were, if I think it's worth the money, and some of the extra stuff, like how some things work. I'm going to try to remain as spoiler free as possible for this entire thing. So be ready, because we're about to get into it. So to start off, we have the character creation, of course. Character creation is pretty in-depth. You do have quite a bit of presets to choose from that you can kind of play around with, make different characters, and try to make the character that you want to make for the most part. Now, it's not going to be anything like Elden Ring, where there's a slider for everything and you can make, abominations and whatever kind of character you want to make. Obviously, they're going to remain to be, very human in nature. You do have a lot of like little add-ons, freckles, glasses, scars, the normal things that you get from character creation. One thing I do want to note here is this game is very woke. If you see down at the bottom, you can choose who you are. Witcher, wizard, doesn't matter what you look like, you can do that, which I found to be really, really cool. You can choose story, easy, normal, or hard difficulty, obviously making your name, choosing your voice based on what they have. But all in all, no complaints there. Now, let's get into the combat briefly. It is a very simple combat approach. So it's almost like back in the day if you played Dragon Age. So you have your abilities on your hotbar down at the bottom right, you have your health bar, you have your healing. So very much RPG based in that regard. Obviously this is not really going to show you anything too crazy because I don't want to go into any spoilers, but you do get more spells as you go along, as I'm sure you expected. The spell amount is fairly large, especially because you can only have 4 on your hotbar at a time, at least to what I've seen. So it has been really good up until that point. Moving on to kind of the scenery and everything that you're going to be seeing here. So, in my opinion, the scenery does a knockout job. They have really done a wonderful, wonderful job of creating that Harry Potter world that we all know and love. Obviously, you can see here, this is just a cutscene, but I believe a lot of this is done in-engine. So, just based on how it looks like the place that you're going to be. So for me, that's a huge win, especially because it doesn't necessarily have to look real. As we know, this is a fantasy world, and it doesn't look real. It is through Unreal Engine 5, so it does make the areas and the surrounding, like the environment, it makes it really, really, it makes you feel like you're there. Moving on to some of the mechanics, your map can be a little tough to get used to at first. It is very simple once you figure out how to use it. Just knowing that it's basically you have subsections that you have to click on before you can fast travel or anything like that. There is fast travel in this game. Now, of course, we all know that you can ride on mounts, brooms, that kind of stuff. That was all shown to us fairly early on. So the map it takes a little getting used to. Now, moving on to some of the not so good things about the game. As you can probably see from this gameplay here, it is a little laggy. It's not my PC. I made sure to check that that was not the case. My whole issue with the lagginess, because it does happen randomly, it's usually not a case of your system, because the game will actually ask you at the very beginning, hey, this is what your system, at least you're playing on PC, it'll tell you, hey, this is what we think the game will run the best at. I'm sure for console it's basically the same thing because they already know what they're going to be doing. So sometimes you will get moments like this where it does lag. I am sure they were working on it, and hopefully we get a patch for these kind of things soon. Now, moving on to character customization. It has the normal RPG tropes. broken down into 3 sections from what I can see here. So it's broken down into health, defense, and offense. Now, the one thing I did like is that there are collections that you can find. So you can see here I have the pre-order robes. They look awesome. So if there are more things like this in the game, or if they're going to be adding things like this to the game, I want to see more stuff like this. Like, you can see the smoke billowing on the robe there. It looks really cool. There definitely is a lot that they can do with that. Even it being such a simple system, they can definitely do quite a bit. So one of my big things about that is it is very simple. It's, you know, your classic RPG elements. It does have, you know, all that stuff going for it. All in all, I think they did a great job with the game. They definitely have brought the world of Harry Potter alive with this game. All of that is great. Minor few bugs to start off with, the, you know, basically the lagging. Some of the character voices do sound a little off from time to time. But other than that, my overall review, or at least my first impression of the game, I'll have a more in-depth review once I've gotten to play the game a little bit more. I just wanted to give you guys a little something to maybe let you know, hey, if you want to buy it, if you don't, that kind of sort of deal. So do I think it's worth the money for it? I think if you're a very large fan of Harry Potter, I think you're going to like this game, and I would definitely, you know, take a little look at it and, you know, give it a go if you're really, really into that world. I don't see any huge problems with it, nothing too game-breaking or anything like that. So, that being said, I think that this one can be kind of a safe bet. Anything that I found wrong with it, at least, they will be able to fix within a very short amount of time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this first impressions video, and I will see you guys in the next video.